Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Max Deshaw with a review for Silent Hill 2 Remake with Based Game Reviews. I played on PS5 with an LG C1. I pre-ordered a physical copy. Story, 20 out of 20. James Sunderland receives a letter from his wife, who has been deceased for 3 years. She asks him to come meet her in their special place. This leads him to the town of Silent Hill, where the story unfolds. You learn the basics of movement, healing, and combat within the first hour. It's presented to you so seamlessly with such good pacing. I was immediately gripped. Drama, suspense, action, and then suddenly you're back in control of James without any noticeable transitions. It was really hard to tell, honestly, because the graphics are so good, but it looked like cutscenes used the main game engine, and then there were some different CGI cutscenes for vital story moments. This is the definition of world building right here. Every note left behind, painting on the wall, set piece and blood smear make this place feel lived in and ripe with death. The lore is deep, and I was trying to piece together the game in my head hours after I'd turned off the console. You get the sense that this place is or was inhabited by real people with real problems. The narrative the first time around was sublime. The game leaves you with more questions than answers, but without making you feel totally abandoned and frustrated. I wanted so desperately to see how things would resolve themselves, or not. It's a slow burn that increases in heat. I actually appreciated the story even more in my New Game Plus playthrough. Having the knowledge then of how things concluded, I felt empathy for James, and the game unfolded with a brand new perspective that absolutely blew my mind when it dawned on me. Here's my biggest issue with the story though. In the opening 10 hours or so, there's little to no suggestion that James finds any of what is happening remotely strange. I wish he was more concerned. It's not like he's a seasoned military veteran. He's just a regular guy with a bad haircut. Can we as the audience get a better sense that this dude is completely in over his head and stressed out? I know that would definitely make me feel less at ease. Isn't that the main theme of the game after all? I feel like there were some major missed opportunities to make our protagonist more relatable, heck, more human. He doesn't really have his first breakdown until way late into the game. Bro, have you not seen the shit that's been going on around here? Are you okay with all of this? Do you want to take 5 and get some water? Did you know your jacket is covered in blood? No, he just plows through the game like he's grocery shopping. I don't get it. Luckily, this did not ruin the game for me, it's just more of an observation. The game has 8 total endings. What do you think about that, Miyazaki? 2 more than the original. 6 of these are required for the Platinum Trophy. Graphics, 15 out of 15. James's forehead is way too small. Okay, I got that out of the way. Other than that, I think everyone looked incredible. The characters in some other modern games tend to look shiny or wet, almost like wax figures. That's not the case here. The lip syncing was also on point, and movement overall was really good. I'm the type of gamer who loves to explore, probably too much, move the camera around, and admire all the little details. This game was a delight for me in that sense. It's begging you to take a closer look. Cigarette butts, empty cans, odd household items, stained furniture, wheelchairs everywhere, food scraps, strange liquids. It's all so fantastic and adds to the game's lore and immersion. The mud, the trees, paint chipping off the walls, my god, everything looked so good. Wow, particle effects haven't looked this good since the original Resident Evil 4. The fog, did I mention the fog? Audio, 14 out of 15. Unreal. I played this game with my AirPods Max on with noise cancelling active, obviously. The audio is masterfully handled in Silent Hill 2 Remake. Bugs crawling on the walls, wind sweeping through a hollow abandoned church, leaves rustling through a plant in an open window, water dripping into a bathtub in a locked bathroom. Holy hell, I was immersed. Strange voices, breathing, screaming down the hallway. Man. There isn't exactly boss music as much as the same great ambience that accompanies the rest of the game. One of the fights has a loud siren playing the entire time, which really helped elevate my heart rate. That was memorable. The weapons feel so impactful. I was literally yelling, "Boom!" every time I landed a headshot with the shotgun. It was so satisfying. The menus have pleasing tones and doors creak with the perfect amount of rust. You can hear every ounce of energy gasping from James's body as he stomps an enemy to death on the pavement. Luke Roberts, who plays James Sunderland, did an amazing job bringing him to life. Performance, 8 out of 10. I played the game in performance mode all the way through. I thought it looked outstanding. I didn't notice anything that was visibly wrong to the naked eye. It looked really smooth to me. I had a blast. Nothing ever really stood out for me. Once or twice, I would not be able to interact with an item that was directly in front of me, which was annoying. James is sort of positioned slightly to the left on screen, kind of like the new Final Fantasy 16. So you kind of have to play the game keeping that perspective in mind. I also got stuck physically around some stairs and tight corners late in the game. Luckily, you have a dodge button, so I used that to unstick myself from the game's geometry. I also encountered a handful of enemies that did not obey gravity. I would shoot them on the ceiling or wall and they would not fall to the ground. That kind of small bug is more amusing than game-breaking, I think. Gameplay, 33 out of 40. Heavy R2 all day. Where are my Souls fans at? Your broken piece of wood with nails in it is the primary melee weapon. Shooting is where you'd expect it, and I liked having the map on the D-pad. You use the map a lot. You'll collect many items throughout the game, mostly things like keys and scraps of paper with messages on them. There's also an item combining mechanic where you can build or repair existing inventory. I feel like this was cool but was severely underused. Plus the combination of items that can go together were stupid simple. It almost felt like, why even have this mechanic at all? Broken record plus glue equals not broken record. Got it. Healing is straightforward and ammo for your weapons is plentiful, almost too much so. I played the game on the standard difficulty, which is described as the vision the developers had for the game or something like that. That makes sense. But for a survival horror game, I felt like I should have been struggling more. I almost felt like a little kid hunting for Easter eggs my parents had left around. Ooh, there's some here, and here. What's this? There's a lot of ammo in this game. Healing items too. I rarely felt desperate for supplies. My absolute favorite mechanic in this game is the dynamic map. That's just a name I gave it. But essentially, as you explore the game, the map will update itself with red markings. Found a dead end? Now there's a scribble there, so you don't try that direction again. Apartment with 318 rooms and you don't remember if you've been in here before? The map will add a line with an arrow on either side showing that you've been through that doorway. Points of interest are also written down and circled. The game will briefly show James jotting something down on the map when you discover something noteworthy. Codes that are discovered are written in James's handwriting on the map, so you don't have to actually write it down yourself. I loved looking at the map. I would say that the pacing was almost perfect, except for that I got completely stuck a handful of times and had to consult the YouTube tutorials. The dynamic map helps a lot. Your destinations are effectively circled in red. Some of the puzzles got me stumped though. Nothing really to pick on here as far as the UI and UE. It worked really well for the game. I especially liked how you have zero extra information on screen while you play. Only when you use your weapons or a consumable will you see numbers or stats. There are some really disturbing and original boss designs for sure. Also a straight up copy-paste, which was really odd. For a game of this length, I'd expect nothing but uniqueness. The actual fights themselves are great and nerve-wracking. A big part of this is the feeling of claustrophobia and your limited space to maneuver around the fights. I definitely died a bunch. So as far as the enemy variety, I would more often than not find myself saying, wait, what, these things again? Instead of, cool, what the hell is this? Keeping in mind that this isn't a vast JRPG with multiple continents, airships, and a submarine section, the whole game takes place essentially in one town with a few different neighborhoods. I still felt like the variety could have been significantly better. The nurses were awesome when I discovered them in the hospital, but then I saw them all over the place, and not only did it seem lazy, but also immersion breaking. You'll be fighting the same enemies in Hour 2 as Hour 20. More mannequins? Imagine the villagers from Resident Evil 4, but that's all you fight the entire game. I'm not exaggerating. The enemy variety is by far the game's biggest weakness. The puzzles do a fine job of interrupting the chaos and blood. My only problem is that they're quite repetitive. Padlocks and more padlocks. Chains, keys. Less would have been more. There are definitely some standout puzzles for sure. I just wanted more variety. While the game does have 8 endings, I'm not sure I'd enjoy playing it that many times. There aren't exactly that many possible directions to explore either. Paths are blocked off for a reason, forcing you to progress through the game in a certain fashion. This helps immensely with the pacing, but on playthrough 7, I think I'd just be an autopilot. There are collectibles and tons of optional rooms in each area, but I still don't see that as being enough for a totally fresh take past, say, 3 times. I'm so glad I played the game a second time though, because this is where the game kinda blew me away. Bonus, 2 out of 4. The game comes with colorblind options and QuickTime event assistance. Overall, incredible 92 out of 100. It's been a while since I was eager to tell friends at work about the game I was playing. Silent Hill 2 Remake was just so damn playable. It ticked off so many boxes for me. The pacing was outstanding, the mechanics kept me interested, and the combat was satisfying to master. While there were definitely a couple of aspects of the game that could have been fine-tuned a bit more, the rest of the experience was just so overwhelmingly entertaining that I could easily look past its shortcomings. Anyone remotely interested in puzzle solving alone, I think there's enough here for you in this game. The pacing is so good, it just carries you through the game. Gameplay variety is interrupted at such a good pace. Puzzles, while they are repetitive in a sense, there's a lot of puzzles that involve locks. The rest of them are very original, very cool, and you're gonna have a really good time figuring those out. And again, for me, the map, this is probably like a super curveball, but the map was one of my favorite parts of this game, honestly. It's so well designed, it's so satisfying to figure out where you're going, get lost, and see which rooms you need to explore next, which hallways you've been down. It's a game in itself. So I think there's a lot of gameplay variety here for a lot of different types of gamers.